Hello, welcome back to Baton Brutal. We are 291 meters, almost 300. We're very close to the line. I think you can see it right above us, in fact. Played for 2 hours. I'm like fully expecting to fall, but I'm not planning on it, so we'll see what happens. It looks like we're very close to this ledge here, getting to the next to the next area. Let's refamiliarize ourselves with the physics a bit here. This feels okay. Very good. It's my always talk about mouse sensitivity. I have a toggle on my mouse to change different DPIs, so I'm always messing with DPI apparently. What in the world is going on here? Why is there a very long ladder? Is this... We need to scout. What is going on here? Oh, in case... Wow, that's very generous of them. In case you accidentally fall here, you have a way up? How pleasant. What are we doing? Get on top of this. Then what? Oh, here, there to there, up there, and then finally, ooh, a lag spike there. And then finally, what? I don't understand. Oh, wait, I was looking right at it. And that goes up there. Okay, makes sense. So, where did that start again? I'm completely lost. This way, around there. Okay, so we're going the right way. This is sort of an outside jump, although really it's more of a... Alright, let's do the outside jump, I guess. Very good. Into the plants. Sneak around the corner. Another corner to sneak. That looks... Let me scout. What is this? That's just a leaf in the way. That's not gonna affect what I can land on. Great. Okay, that's a little scary. Okay, that's a little better. I definitely don't... I think that's maybe possible, but it seems very risky. When it's not that much more work to go around this way, yeah. Great. What did I say this next part? I said it was like... Oh, over there? That jump's actually harder than I thought it was going to be. So it's more of a land on this thing, get on the ladder jump, isn't it? And if I miss this thing, what's happening? Yeah, that's in a pit. Like this half jump doesn't look good to me. But neither does that. I mean, I've landed on a fence like that before. We could land on the end of the fence. Is that any better? Sort of. But that puts you even farther out in no man's land. Well, actually, you like maybe land on something decent there. My vertigo's going up. Who knows what happens when you get vertigo higher than like 3 or 4%. Take a sip here. I don't particularly want to fail this jump. I think maybe coming at it on an angle is a good strategy. Like, if you try to land on the middle of this grate, right? If I come at it at an angle, I'm maximizing the amount of time I'm over the grate. Yeah. Look at that. Cool. Let's see here. A little squirrely there. Could potentially do that a little better. Around the corner again. Another jump in and out. Another jump in and out. Okay. And we are to a red floored area. And maybe have a new mechanic? Strange multi-direction ladders? I don't feel safe. Well, there's a ledge, so I don't fall that far down. There's also... What is this? A ladder on all sides? Right there? That helps you get back up, I guess? Do you climb on this? You do. Okay. I don't exactly know how this is going to control. So my concern here is that when I press left, like, am I sticking... I can hold shift and move left and right. I mean, this is an entirely new mechanic. Can I jump off this? I don't really know. I tried to press jump, but I was holding shift because I was scared of falling, so I don't know if you can actually jump off of this surface. Holding space goes up. Holding shift keeps you from going down. If you let go of shift or space, you also go down. It doesn't seem like you can really launch yourself. Well, you kind of can if you press backwards when you do it. This is a interesting obstacle. Part of the problem I'm having with it is that there's no... Okay, do not press... Oh. I thought I was falling, but I was just in scout mode. I was trying to see if scout mode worked while I was on that. Results are conclusive. You can go in scout mode, but I wouldn't recommend it because you will immediately, upon exiting scout mode, have to react to whatever situation you used to be in. Maybe similar is using scout mode in midair. Yes. Although that was pretty strange. Trying to, like, abuse scout mode here. Okay, anyway. Let's scout. Where are we going? There's this weird ladder here. Can we make it from here to there if we try to do a jump? Maybe we're meant to learn about ladder jumps here, where you can actually jump off of these ladder-like objects if you press jump. That one didn't exactly work, though. Can I stand on the top of this? No. So that's another way it's unlike ladders, is that you can't stand on the top of it. Alright. Pretty strange. Oh, what was that? Alright, well, we fell back pretty far. And I can't tell you if I understand those any better. It's like... I think I was holding forward, but walked sideways and, like, fell off of it. Which is, I guess, a thing that can happen with normal ladders, but not something that typically does. Alright, so we're way, way, way far down now. We're back to this. We're back to big bounce. And where do we go from here? Okay. I will say, I don't think I'm a fan of that mechanic. The new ladders that are multi-directional, seemingly multi-directional, and you can't stand on the top of them. I think they're pretty awkward, and I wasn't given a good space to fiddle with them. Okay, this is the jump where you just jump straight over. Nice. Doing this. Oops. Am I firmly on top? I am. What's the idea with this climb? Oh, that's right. It's an around the corner climb. And then hopefully we can pull this off again, because that was great last time, where we... Nah, we didn't get it that time. Gotta do the long way. I think, I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna approach that, new ladder situation differently the next time I'm there. But we do have a ways off from that. Sort of redoing a lot of level at this point. Mm-hmm. Alright, we're back to 200 meters. Where we used to be almost at 300. This game is a little bit different from Bennett Foddy's game. I think Bennett Foddy's game, it's a lot faster to climb things when you get good. Whereas this, it always takes, you know, some minimum amount of time to do well. I think in general, the difficulty level is lower, but the penalty for failure is higher because the time to get back is higher. You can certainly spend a lot of time in Bennett Foddy's game getting back to where you were before, but it feels like you're sort of doing it faster every time. Here, I don't necessarily feel like I'm doing it faster every time, nor do I feel like there is a way to do it significantly faster. Maybe if I heavily scouted and found, like, where am I going from here? Supposed to be here, and then, okay, I see. I feel like there's not, like, significant shortcuts, but maybe I'm just missing something. So we fell from up there, which means we have to do this whole, like, checkpoint stuff again for the maybe 5th time I think I've done it on this playthrough. Yikes. Wow, okay. So I don't have the timing down for when I'm getting to the top of the ladder. This is just a jump here. Yeah, there's something pretty fiddly about how I approach ladders, and maybe there's a less fiddly method that's a little safer. I'm not sure. That is the hard jump out of the way. By hard jump, I just mean it's the scariest jump. I don't think it's, like, extremely hard. It's just a little scary. I do recognize some of the same feelings I'm getting from this game that I got from Bennett Foddy's, which was a little despair, I would say. Tough to recover from a big fall like that mentally. In Foddy's, it was the case that, like, I'd literally spend, trying to remember how long it took me to beat Bennett Foddy's game. I think it must have been about 8 hours. I know some sections of that took me a very long time to do. And I'd occasionally get the feeling like, oh, this is too hard. I'm not going to be able to, like, complete this. But I did get a lot of euphoria in finally completing the game. Here, the average difficulty is lower, which makes it feel a bit more tedious. Which is a feeling you usually... It's not usually a feeling most video games go for. Like, tedium is almost always, a negative trait in a video game, in terms of, like, if someone says, you know, this game's tedious, that's not very rarely a compliment. Here, I would say I am feeling some negative emotion about that. But it's a very careful balance. For me, in general, a lot of these obstacles are very consistent for me, and so the thing that ends up getting me are, like, mistakes because I'm rushing, or like there almost I almost didn't I didn't look at the jump closely enough and tried to jump on top of it when I should have been going around. But yeah, sort of like rushing it, or just sort of zoning out because a lot of the content isn't challenging me that much. So it's hard. That was inattentiveness right there. Let's reset. This is a bounce, of course. And here you have to push backwards just slightly. All right. On the other hand, I had those same exact feelings about Bennett Foddy's game, despite it being harder. It felt sort of tedious to retry those things. So there's, like, definitely a spectrum of content that's like, is this content hard enough to be interesting to replay, or is it too easy to, and thus tedious to replay? And I'm not sure exactly where that line is. Like, I certainly wouldn't, like, if a game was, you know, grind these RPG stats. I always look here so I know where I can land safely. Like, if the game was literally anyone has the mechanical skill for this, it's like selecting something in a menu 1,000 times, then that certainly doesn't meet my criteria for interesting tedium. Because at that point, I don't feel like it dilutes the achievement a bit. It feels like you're then just, you know, spending your time on something, which spending on your time on something isn't bad inherently. I think it's, you know, but you would prefer to spend your time on things that, like, enhance you in some way, or produce something, or better you in some way, or improve a skill, right? Like, it's hard to want to spend time on things that are... Okay, how do I do this? Alright, beautiful. Yeah, it's like hard to want to spend... Oh, no. It's hard to want to spend times on things that you feel like you're not improving at all. It's just like you're doing them for the sake of doing them. And there will be a certain point in this game where I think I hit that threshold. I think it is... I'm to the point where certain jumps are worth more caution than I'm giving them. But it's hard for me to want to give them that caution. I essentially should give them the caution I gave them the first time I did them. But I don't know how to recreate that feeling in my mind. I do think in general the brain reacts very poorly to boredom. So if something like starts to feel boring to you, you're not going to really engage with it in a constructive way. Even if there are things you could learn from said task, the boring emotion overwrites a large part of your perception of it. Where exactly am I going? Okay. Still around. At this point, I feel like I almost did more than a 180. I probably could have approached it from the other side. And I will probably do what I said last time and leave a timestamp for when I get back to forward progress. But this sort of cataloging of my descent into madness is kind of funny to me. So, and I feel like the that emotion is like a core part of the experience that this game is providing. And to sort of gloss over the negative emotion reduces the impact of the game. I think it is inherently like Bennett Foddy's game. It's a game inherently about the player's limits. And I'm typically a pretty competitive person, and I do have like, I'd say driving emotion sometimes that the driver behind my competitiveness is sort of a negative feeling. I have this feeling in my you know, like somebody beats me in a fighting game and I have this feeling like, oh, like that strategy they used was sort of cheap, and that negative emotion I felt when they beat me sort of drives me to find the counter strategy to face, you know, that gives me the motivation to, like, sort of get better, to learn the technique that counters the strategy they used and beat them with it. And I don't think I always like that part of myself. It produces situations where, like, in retrospect, I'll be embarrassed in how I felt in the moment. And I think games like this can be sort of a mirror and get you to confront aspects of your personality which you may not fully understand or like, or... Okay, that was stupid. These pillars always screw me up. I'm like holding shift, or I'm not holding shift, but I'm not holding run, because I've had too many times on those pillars where I run and just miss, or run off the pillar. But now when I don't hold run, I like jump too early because I'm used to jumps while holding run, and I don't get the momentum I need. Because, like, while you're holding run, you jump a lot further, and so I'm used to that timing of jumping further because I'm holding run on basically every jump, except for those. So now my strategy to be safer has turned into a less safe strategy because I'm not used to it. It's interesting. I'm not sure if I'm learning anything on how to get better with those ladders. I'm, like, getting more consistent with the timing, but I'm sort of less consistent because I'm rushing, and then those two things cancel out. I think for that first pillar, I'm going to run jump, and then the rest of these I won't. How about that? That seems okay. Watch your head. Up and around. in terms of negative emotions, I don't think most people enjoy games that produce a lot of negative emotion, myself included. But I do think that they're interesting, regardless. I think part of maybe what I'm exploring with these types of games is like, what exactly motivates me to play very difficult games or like repeat the same task over and over again. I've mentioned it in previous videos, but I do play a lot of games that have an emphasis on repetition. Maybe not to this degree. This is like honestly trying my patience in ways. But yeah, especially if I feel like I'm bad at it, I'm like even more motivated to do it. So like, remember when I first played Monster Hunter? There was a Monster Hunter that released on the Wii. There was a demo, and that game had like a handful of weapons. I want to say like 5, 6, or 7 weapons. I can't remember exactly how many weapons. But I played that demo a bunch, and I tried a bunch of different weapons, and they all felt pretty good. But I was like especially bad at lance, and so of course that is the weapon I chose to use. I'm like, I need to use this weapon that I'm bad at so that I can understand it and like understand the design philosophy behind it. And it turned out that the lance it has like a much heavier defensive style. In most games, I like to just run in and do some damage and not worry about defense. It turns out the lance's strength is sort of staying in the fight because you have defensive options, and so sort of regardless of what the monster does, you can block or counter and stay in the fight and keep up damage. And so even though that weapon wasn't natural for me at the beginning, it ended up being my favorite weapon, and that's the weapon I play the most. Because I feel like I had to bend my brain the most to understand it, and that process of learning the lance is what made me appreciate it. So maybe my theory. Okay, let me not think and do this. Let me concentrate on this jump before I finish that thought. All right. Where was I? Or maybe okay. Let's focus. This is focus time, and then we'll continue our philosophizing after these jumps. All right, I got that time. That's a trickier jump than I thought, because I mean, I'm very nervous now. Whew. Okay. All right, got sweaty hands. We're gonna relax. How far are we into this episode? 34 minutes. Let me finish my thought on Monster Hunter. We'll cut the episode and continue. Yeah, I think so. Maybe the thing I like about a game I don't immediately click with is that it changes my perception of how like I'm approaching a game, and that process of learning like really turns me on and onto that concept and makes me focus on it, and that focus is what turns into like sort of affection. Like I can, since I'm putting so much emphasis on like actively trying to learn this system, it helps me. Yeah, since I'm putting so much active focus on learning this system, it like takes me out of my normal habits, and I'm able to like appreciate some facet of something I wasn't able to appreciate before. If you just stick with what you're comfortable with, you end up sort of falling into patterns where you aren't maybe actively learning as much, and then so you're not really paying attention to the game, and you're not getting better. So maybe that's part of it. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.